Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, British steel cannot be allowed to die, the Welsh First Minister declared today as the Assembly met in emergency session to discuss the sell-off by steel giant Tata. Many thousands of jobs are on the line, many of them at Port Talbot. And the Welsh Government has now opened talks with potential buyers in search of a rescue deal. In a moment, we'll have a look at who those buyers might be. But first, our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davies reports from Cardiff.
Where once Cardiff Docks stood as a symbol of Wales's industrial might, today politicians gathered, wondering how to save the steelworks of Port Talbot and beyond.
I have one simple message for the people of Wales and the UK government. These plants cannot close. Welsh steel, British steel, cannot be allowed to die.
It is inconceivable to me that any government, whether that be...
One after another, Wales's political leaders, called back from their Easter break for an emergency session of the Assembly, warned of dire consequences should the Port Talbot steelworks close.
Our industry is in dire straits at the moment due to steel dumping.
While outside came the voices of those with the most at stake, the steelworkers and their families.
What would it mean for you as a family if the steelworks shut?
Well, we wouldn't be able to pay our mortgage.
Exactly.
Wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage.
You asked how we feel. My friend here, myself, we finished work at 7 o'clock this morning from Port Talbot, drove back. He lives in Cross Keys, I live in Abertillery. I walked in the house at 8 o'clock this morning, had 2 hours in bed, and I'm here today in the pouring rain to try and fight for our living, our livelihood, to try and get something for us. But whether there's somebody who will give us something, who bloody knows.
With each hour, it seems, comes a new line on who might take on Tata Steel's UK portfolio with its 15,000 workers on the payroll. At a Steel Task Force meeting in Cardiff this morning, the Welsh Secretary was quick to boast of calls he'd made last week to the steel commodities and property group Liberty House.
Liberty House going to buy the Port Talbot steelworks?
Well, the sale document hasn't yet been published. They've shown that they are actively interested in looking at potential options, and of course the UK government stands ready to work with any potential investor in order to secure the longer-term interests of the steel industry in Port Talbot and elsewhere.
And amidst all of this, ongoing political recriminations. Opponents accuse the Welsh Government of missing opportunities. They in turn accuse the Westminster Government of an inadequate response. A theme echoed by some union leaders meeting in London today who accused the Business Secretary Sajid Javid of taking his eye off the ball, leaving colleagues to defend him.
Do you think the UK government's doing enough so far?
Absolutely. I mean, we have been since the outbreak of this. The trouble is that there's a lot of stuff that we're doing which we simply can't talk about. But I've been to Rotherham today to see the plant there.
And Sajid Javid the right man to continue with this?
Absolutely.
It's been a day of crisis talks and meetings with the UK and Welsh governments talking up their determination to work together on this, talking up to their confidence in Tata Steel's sense of corporate responsibility. But the talking can only go so far. They need a buyer and they have a limited amount of time to find one. Andy Davies, Channel 4 News, Cardiff.
Well, there are quite a few names in the mix as possible buyers for Tata's UK sites, although not some without some British government support. I'm joined now from Newport by our business correspondent Helia Ebrahimi. Helia.
Hi, well, we're at Newport, which is owned by Liberty House, one of the potential white knights that the government is hoping will swoop in and be able to rescue at least parts of some of Tata's beleaguered steel industry. The boss here will be meeting with government tomorrow, seeing whether a deal is possible to sketch out. But that's not the only meeting that's been taking place. This afternoon, Tata Steel's finance director met with Sajid Javid to talk about things. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister, as well as the Welsh First Minister, will be meeting, not just to discuss buyers, but to talk about what the government can do in order to offer more aid. The problem, one of them that we've been hearing about, is this confusion about business rates. On the weekend, Sajid Javid seemed to be suggesting that there might be relief in terms of business rates, which would be very beneficial for the steel industry. But today, the Welsh Assembly were poo-pooing that idea, saying their hands were tied by state aid rules from Europe. So, as Andy's piece said, there's going to be a lot of talking in the coming days and weeks. Lots of advisors, lots of meetings, lots of rules. But the one number to focus on is there's 15,000 jobs here at stake.
Halia in Newport, thanks very much.
I've been getting away